So here's the brutal truth about marketing degrees that you probably know already. They're not worth the money, you know? If we just look at the math of it, it just doesn't add up, right? So on average, someone pays around 80K for marketing, a bachelor's marketing degree, right? So that's, 20K a year, around 10K a semester. That's, if you are in the average range. I was paying more 15K a semester, and my program was actually going to be 5 years, so I was going to be more than six figures in debt if I ended up finishing, which I didn't, and I'll explain why and how I ended up making a pretty good career in marketing, even despite that, right? So, you get out of college, you put in 4 years. Let's say, you became a qualified candidate and you start making 40K out of college, right? That's probably the average salary you're looking at. So, it's going to take you around 2.5 years to break even. That's if you're not using any of the money that you make towards anything else, right? Because, 40K with taxes, you're looking at around 30K that you earn. You put in your bank, and you pay down your loan, right? And that's not even counting the interest either. So, that's kind of where you're looking at here. Honestly, like if I will be honest with you, it is a viable option for some people, but I think there's just such an easier way to do this, where you actually get paid to learn and get better as opposed to paying yourself, right? I basically, in my first year after I finished the 2 semesters, I started working at an agency, and I started making around 30K a year, which obviously is like peanuts, right? But I learned in like 1 year, basically like a 4 years worth of a marketing degree. And after that, I was able to leverage the skill levels, the confidence, and just the connections that I made to start, climbing the ladder and building my income. So I think that's like that's a path that's going to be more and more prevalent as we go forward, because college is only getting more expensive. The books and the teachings are getting more and more outdated. Like, there are core principles of marketing that will never leave, but it's not something that you need 4 full years to comprehend, right? Like supply and demand, 4Ps, marketing funnel, that's pretty basic shit. Like, it does not take like freaking 4 years to learn that, right? I think, in 1 month, you should be able to have all the fundamentals down. Now you go in and you start implementing it and learning and basically seeing how campaigns influence consumer behavior. That's when the real magic of learning and getting better at marketing happens. So, what's happening is digital marketing is like, the hot, cool thing in marketing. Like, most people, when they think of marketing, that's what what they picture in their head. And that's only something that became a thing in the last decade, right? So there wasn't enough time for universities to develop a curriculum that adequately teaches all of these different skills. Like, Google Display Network launched 2003, YouTube launched 2005, Facebook ads only became a thing in 2007, TikTok ads, launched 2019, and AI is only now becoming mainstream. So, if you think about like when you're in classes and you're learning, all the different things that they teach you, it's mostly going to be old books that are decades old, which, again, I'm going to say it again, I think those are important. But then, like, when all you're doing is learning that, like, theoretical concepts and doing a lot of research and, making a lot of theories, and like that's your main kind of education, you're probably going to be more geared towards going into a more research and research data type roles in bigger companies, which again is also a good path. But if you are more of like the creative person that wants to go and make videos, if you want to run campaigns, run ads, that is a bit more like you need to be in the field to become better at it, right? And I am a big proponent of going out and just starting from the bottom and working at startups and agencies and just building your skill level and your experience that way. If you look in the 4-year time frame, right? So you get out of high school at 18. You have two different scenarios. One scenario, you basically apply to as many agencies as you can that are in your area, and you end up, landing a gig and earning either nothing or minimum wage, and kind of growing from there. Or you could go and start paying $20,000 a year at a university. I think at the end of those 4 years, the person that finishes the university is going to literally start from like the very beginning, if they didn't get any internships, especially, and they're gonna come into the job pool, and they're gonna be looked at as like a complete entry level, as opposed to the other person, which is basically the path I ended up going. At the end of those 4 years, I actually have 4 years of marketing experience, so now I am more qualified for those mid-level roles where you end up making usually like 6 figures or more. So I think the first route that I mentioned is harder. Like, you have to be a bit more creative in how you go about it, and you have to be actually a bit more humble, because it's going to be very tough in the beginning. You're going to be probably overworked and underpaid, but I think it's just a temporary situation, which in the long run will get you very significant upside. So that's what I would suggest.